He claimed he met 3 of the 9/11 hijackers in Shreveport a year before the attacks. At the time, Graham was trying to publish a manuscript about meeting 3 Middle Easterners in Shreveport. He feared they were plotting to bomb Barksdale. Graham wrote that he warned the FBI. Then after 9/11, he saw their pictures among the hijackers.
Dr. David Graham had alerted Representative Congressman Jim McCrary, who in turn gave the information over to a member of the Joint Select Committee on Intelligence, Saxby Chambliss. Graham was detailing the fact that he contacted the FBI about 3 men who would later become 9/11 hijackers that Graham had observed planning terrorism 10 months prior to 9/11. Dr. Graham inadvertently met the future 9/11 hijackers in Shreveport, Louisiana.
Well, I'm sitting in front of Nawaf al-Hazmi, and the picture I saw after 9/11 in USA Today is the same look he gave me and stared at me like this for about 10 minutes. He was clean shaven when I saw him, this fella right here, Nawaf al-Hazmi.
Graham made a video will to detail his story and provide his evidence, for he speculated that he was not going to be taken seriously by Porter Goss for his whistleblowing. He feared for his life after clandestinely recording himself and a Pakistani man, Jamal Khan, who Graham claimed hosted 3 of the 9/11 hijackers.
Before Graham was poisoned, he was supposed to testify at a deportation hearing against a Pakistani man, Jamal Khan, who hosted the men Graham believed to be the hijackers.
Khan was from an area of Pakistan in the north, known to be very sympathetic to bin Laden, and also where many believed bin Laden was hiding. Graham provided all the evidence for his story in the video.
And I got a map, and I saw where Karachi was down on the coast. When I talked to Jamal the next day, I said, Jamal, I said, is your family, is your father, is this place down on the coastline? I love the big boats. He said, oh, no. He said it's up by the China Wall, over by Russia. So this little yellow spot I've outlined here, there's some little cities up there I'd like to mention that are possibly significant to where maybe bin Laden could be hiding, and that's what Agent Spoon, after 9/11, indicated to me.
Graham initially feared a truck bombing on Barksdale Air Force Base due to the suspicious red flags he was observing with men he remotely associated with. Graham reported to both a Shreveport FBI agent and a U.S. Secret Service agent the information almost a year before 9/11. Within the Graham report, a book David wrote detailing his story so that the public would know this scandal. He details and provides the dated and certified documents that the FBI had names of 2 9/11 ringleaders, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar.
But in terms of 9/11, in terms of them going after somebody in the Bible Belt who, was a conservative, Christian, megachurch, evangelical, I mean, that's really desperate that they have to kill somebody like that. But he was on the verge of publishing a book, and his book was going to talk about this 4-year ordeal that he had when he met Nawaf al-Hazmi and had an association with somebody who knew Khalid al-Mihdhar. And al-Mihdhar and al-Hazmi, we know now, according to the 9/11 Commission report and others, were 2 of the lead hijackers.
Graham's 9/11 report was never published. Graham's story is not detailed at all in the 9/11 Commission report. Why did Porter Goss ignore Graham while sitting on the Intelligence Committee? 2 of the 3 hijackers Graham met were living openly and even applied for driver's licenses using their actual identities in San Diego, while both of their identities were on terror watch lists for having attended a major Al-Qaeda meeting just prior. They were listed as Al-Qaeda operatives.
A closer look now at criticism of the U.S. intelligence community. In the current issue of Newsweek magazine, writer Michael Isikoff reports that the CIA was actively tracking 2 of the suspected September 11th hijackers and even trailed those men pictured here to an Al-Qaeda summit in Malaysia.
This is probably the biggest intelligence failure surrounding the events of September 11th of all.
In September of 2000, they moved in with an FBI informant, Abdul Sadr Sheikh. Abdul Sadr was working closely with the FBI on terror cases.
CBS's Jim Stewart has new information tonight about a tense standoff between the widely criticized FBI and Congress over a witness.
A congressional committee investigating the September the 11th hijackings met behind closed doors today to hash out what appears to be an increasingly ugly confrontation with the FBI. At issue is the testimony of an FBI informant who apparently played landlord to two of the 9/11 hijackers and never informed his case agent of the renters until after the attacks. The two hijackers, Nawaf al-Hamzi and Khalid al-Damar, were the only members of the group to enter the U.S. through the West Coast. For several months, they lived in this San Diego residence where their landlord was this man, identified as Abdul Sadr Sheikh, a prominent San Diego Muslim leader.
And it was largely due to the fact that these two men, al-Hazmi and al-Midar, were living with the FBI's informant, Abdul Sadr Sheikh. Sheikh was identified in wire reports as a retired professor of English at San Diego State. He was also listed as Vice President of International Projects at the American Commonwealth University. The problem is, Sheikh never taught at San Diego State. He never taught English at all. He possessed a phony PhD from a bogus diploma mill with U.S. military and intelligence connections out of Florida. American Commonwealth University doesn't exist. What is Abdul Sadr Sheikh, a man housing the future 9/11 hijackers, doing with false identities provided to him by U.S. government officials? Many wonder why this was. But just before heading to California, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Midar were being actively tracked by the CIA.
That day, it seemed sudden and without warning. But 3 years and 2 investigations later, it's clear there was a tragic trail of missed opportunities to stop some of the hijackers, disrupt the plot, and perhaps save 3,000 lives. The Malaysia meeting. January 2000, top al-Qaeda operatives converge on Kuala Lumpur for a planning meeting that includes these two hijackers, the first time a hijacker comes on the radar of American intelligence. The search. In late August, the CIA finally tells the FBI 2 hijackers may be in the country, but the FBI can't find them, even though they're listed in the San Diego phone book. The watch lists. The 2 hijackers are finally watch listed, but never put on the FAA's no-fly list. The most critical dropped ball, investigators say, is that the CIA identified 2 of the hijackers as terrorists a year and a half before the attacks. Khalid al-Midar and Nawaf al-Hamzi knew they were headed to this country and did almost nothing until it was too late. Sources tell NBC News the FBI has developed a series of charts for congressional investigators to show that had there been follow-up, al-Hamzi and al-Midar would have led them directly to 5 other hijackers, and by connecting the dots to everyone else, including ringleader Mohammed Atta.
Future alleged 9/11 hijackers al-Hazmi and al-Midar both got visas from the CIA's fast-track program in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, as did a majority of the hijackers. But the CIA was preventing this information from reaching the FBI. Doug Matson of the 9/11 Commission's staff and a former CIA deputy director expressed as much that the CIA was intentionally omitting information. The Zionist warmonger, Philip Zelikow, who was plucked right out of Bush's own National Security Council to be the executive director for the commission. Zelikow would have total control over hiring the 9/11 Commissioner's staff and set up a tight filtering system over information sharing that went right through himself or Hamilton. It wasn't new for Zelikow, it was an opportunity to promote his worldview. There was one dissenter in Zelikow's way, a staff member that slipped through the cracks, Donna Lesman. Breaking Zelikow's filter protocol, Lesman dug into the direct 9/11 connections with the government of Saudi Arabia. Zelikow fired her and had her findings deleted from the 9/11 Commission's report, 28 pages redacted. Perhaps she asked how a Saudi GIT agent working with the FBI was providing housing and actually living with 9/11 hijackers.